Welcome to CGTN. I'm Xinmeng, and we are live at the Media Center in Beijing because it's that time of the year again, the 2 sessions, China's political high season. Just in case you don't know, a brief introduction of what it is. So every year in March, 2 plenary meetings will be held in Beijing. Collectively, they're known as the 2 sessions or 两会, and they make up the biggest annual political event in the country, and they are pushing forward the development of China. So this year, one of the 2 sessions, the CPPCC, Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, opened on last Sunday, so March the 3rd. And today, the other one of the 2 sessions, the NPC, National People's Congress, which is also known as China's top legislative body, is opening today. And nearly all of the press conferences during the 2 sessions will be held here in this building, the Media Center in Beijing. And today is the first conference today. So let's go inside to check it out. First, we'll have to, this is my ID card.
好，请出示证件，谢谢，请进。
And they have face recognition here. That's cool, right? That's me. And my camera lady is also going through the security check, and that's her. You don't get to see her a lot because she's usually behind the camera, but yeah. So after the gate, we still need to go through the security check here because I don't have any bags with me right now, so nothing to be put on the belt. But still, the inspection is needed. Turning around. So the security check is very strict because this is the only entrance here to the media center. And over there, if we can turn the camera, we can see our CGTN reporters are doing live cross with the channel. So yeah, we are in. This is the media center. It is actually a hotel called the Media Center, but there are 2 floors, as we can see, are being used right now for the coverage of the 2 sessions. So this is the first floor. Let's go this way to check it out. So behind the board, oh, there's dining room for journalists. And behind the board here, it is actually the highlight of this year because here we can see is telecom and network service room, and 5G network is available here for the first time in the media center. And this is very significant because it will be rolled out for commercially use in just 18 months. So we are here just to try it out in advance. And the speed is really fast because for us reporters, 5G network means faster download and upload speed. Say we can, so after the press conference, all the journalists, the reporters, they can just write and post their news articles here really fast. And maybe they can send back the videos and images they took from the press conference back to the newsroom. And here they also have some products to experience the 5G network because it's hardly to see. And here we can see some VR goggles, and we can ask an expert here. 您好，跟我们介绍一下这个 VR 是做什么？它里面是什么？
这个 VR 是咱们可以通过这个 VR 头显去进行一个两会的直播观看。您可以试一下。这个我们
Let me try it on.
这个我们前期在人民大会堂的部长通道，还有天安门广场都布放了我们的5G 基站，然后那边将360度高清摄像头拍摄到的画面去进行一个实时传送，咱们这边就可以戴上头显看到。
So right now I'm seeing a panoramic view of the Great Hall of the People, and she just told me that this is from this morning, the opening ceremony of the MPC. This is so cool because I can just have a view of the Great Hall of the People, and over there, the Tiananmen Square, just standing here, turning around. Is there a big screen? No, I don't see a big screen here, so Unfortunately, you can't see what I saw in the goggles, but it's really cool. It's basically just a panoramic view of the Great Hall of the People, and it was transferred here based on the 5G network. They set a 5G network base station at the Tiananmen Square this morning, so take the VR video. 那这些是什么？
我们这边是一个利用5G 网络进行高速上网的设备。这2台电脑是通过 WiFi 的形式接入到了5G 站点 CPE 上，然后上连到5G 基站进行了一个无线高速上网。
So these two these two PCs, they are connected to the 5G network wirelessly. They're connecting to this CPE 5G CPE. This equals to 是相当于我们的那个路由器，是不是您说？
我们家庭的路由器可以把无线信号转换成 WiFi 的形式，供这2台电脑上网。
So because the 5G base station is not so commonly used right now, they're using this, the 5G CPE, as we can say it is something similar to the routers we use at home. So these two computers are connected to this, and this will connect to the 5G network. And the speed is really fast, but I don't know exactly. 您说这个速度它大概是有多快啊？
这个就是我们5G 网络的整体测速是相比我们4G 网络现在是在10倍到20倍之间。就比如说您原来上传一个文件需要10到20分钟的时间，那在5G 的环境下只需要1到2分钟就可以完成。
So she just told me the 5G network theoretically can be as fast as 20 times faster than a 4G network. So if I'm uploading a video using the 4G network, which will take like 10 to 20 minutes to finish it, but it will just take me 1 to 2 minutes to finish it uploading by the 5G network. So it's really convenient for us to upload the video, the footage materials back to the newsroom to get you a news package, a news story really fast. 这边是什么？
这个有一个高清视频的一个传送，这个是我们从央视通过5G 网络接入的一个高清视频的一个业务，它整个通过5G 网络传输的时间大约是在毫秒级，就满足了这种实时传送的一个需求，也体现了5G 这种低时延的特性。
是高清的，您说是4K 吗？
是现在目前是高清的片源，是1080p 的。
So this is to demonstrate the HD, the high definition TV transmission. They can transfer the video, the signal using the 5G network, basically real time. So, yeah, this is the telecom and network service room. 谢谢您. So just to let you know, because you didn't see what I saw in the VR goggle, the image is really clear, like I'm just standing at the Great Hall of the People. And that's another feature of the 5G network, because it also can be used for the better, higher qualification of the video. And speaking of that better quality, image quality, let me show you this. This is the 4K channel of China Media Group, the CCTV 4K channel. It's also based on the 5G network, because 5G network is also it supports the ultra high definition transmission of the video. So, yeah, that's why we are also using the 5G and 4K technology in the live broadcasting this year for the 2 sessions coverage, not only here but also at the Great Hall of the People. So here you can take the information and books, magazines, newspapers here from different media outlets. These are for the journalists for free. So this is from today. They are, yeah, everything is from today, up to date. And then I just saw the dining room again. I tried to get in there to get food yesterday, but you need to pay for it, you know. I thought it was free because, you know, we are working here, but no, it's not covered. But if you're hungry, you can surely take some tea break, food, snacks, fruits here from this area. And that is basically the first floor. Let's move on to the second floor. The second floor is the main conference hall and also reception rooms for the journalists. So I can see like about 5 minutes later, the first press conference of the 2 sessions this year at the media center will be held here at the press conference hall. So this is the reception room for foreign journalists. And over there at that corner, that's the reception room for Chinese mainland journalists. And if we go along this hallway to the very end, that will be the interview rooms. And here, behind this door, is the press conference hall. The first press conference of the 2 sessions here at the media center will be held there. If you can turn the camera. So I'll have to go in to participate in the press conference, but unfortunately we can't continue this walk and talk live streaming inside the conference hall. But worries free, because the whole conference will be live streamed to you inside using the public signal. So don't go away, because so my cameraman just told me the press conference is delayed for some reason. So I thought we don't have time already, but yeah, we have more time to tour around a little bit. This is the second floor. It's not that big, the media center. We can see from here basically everything. For those of you who just tuned in, this is CGTN live streaming at the media center in Beijing, because today is the first press conference. It is the CPPCC National Committee on the 3 tough battles, the forestall and diffuse of major risks, carry out targeted poverty alleviation, and also prevent and control pollution. This is the reception for Chinese mainland journalists. So we usually get in here to get some materials for the following activities, the event. See what we can get here. So these are documents for the NPC. This is the name list of the deputies who are attending and the agendas. So now the conference is about to begin. Let's go back to the conference hall. Remember what I said? I can't go in to continue this walk and talk live streaming inside the conference hall, but we'll live stream the whole conference for you. So I'll have to go in, but don't go away. Stay tuned. I'll see you inside in a bit. Okay, so I have to go in. Don't go away.
大会期间将举行3场记者会。今天是第1场，主题是政协委员
press
谈
conferences. Today is the first one,
打好
and we will talk about
防范化解重大风险。
the ensuring success in the 3 critical battles against the potential risk, poverty, alleviation, and pollution.
5位全国政协委员。
And we are pleased to invite 5 members of CPPCC National Committee. Please allow me to introduce them.
他是全国政协常委，
Mr. Li Wei,
政协
member of the Standing Committee of CPPCC National Committee,
国务院法
Director of the Population Resources and Environment Committee,
国资委
Director of the Development Research Center of the State Council,
监会副主席，
the former Deputy Director of the SASAC, and the former Vice Chairman of CBRC.
他是全国政协常委，
And Madam Qin Boyong.
县中央副主席，
She is a member of the Standing Committee of CPPCC National Committee, Vice Chairman of the Central Committee of
这位是
the Democratic National Construction Association, Deputy Auditor General of National Audit Office.
他是全国
Mr.
政协
Chen Yulu
经济委员会副主任，中国人民
He
银
is
行
Deputy Director of the Economic Committee of CPPCC,
那边那位是
the Vice Governor of
黄培
PBOC.
安委员，他是全国政协
And Mr.
自然环境
Mr. Wang Peian.
副主任。
He is Deputy Director of the CPPCC Population Resources and Environment Commission,
原国家卫生
Party Secretary and Executive Vice President of the China Family Planning Association, former Deputy Director of the National Health and Family Planning
他是
Commission,
全国政协人口
and Mr. Liu
自然
Bingjiang,
环境委员会委员，
member of CPPCC Population Resources and Environment Committee,
生态环境部
and head
大气环境司司长。
and Standing Committee of the
记者会大约60分钟时间，
Democratic National Association,
前
and also
请
Department of Atmosphere Environment of the Ministry of Ecology and Environment. So the press conference will last for around 60 minutes. Please identify your media outlet before asking question.
建议每位记者
And please
实提。
clarify your question goes to whom,
现在
and
开始提问
suggest that one question is allowed.
有请这位。
Now the floor is open.
感谢主持人，我是光明日报全媒体记者。我的问题提给李伟常委。我们知道，2018年底的中央经济工作会议指出，3大攻坚战初战告捷。2019年呢，要针对突出问题打好重点战役。请问李伟常委，就污染防治攻坚战而言，您认为2019年的着力点在哪里？谢谢。
Guangming Daily. The Central Economic Work Conference at the end of last year recognized the initial victory in the 3 critical battles and stressed that in 2019, priority must be given to the prominent issues. May I ask Mr. Li Wei, in the fight against pollution, what are considered as more prominent issues in the year ahead? Thank you.
非常感谢光明日报记者对我的提问因为你提问的这个问题
Thank you
接政协
for
二次
your
会议
question.
第一场记者会的第一
The
个问题
question you ask
我有幸回答
actually
第一个问题，谢谢。
is the first question of the first press conference of CPPC. I'm quite honored to answer the very first one.
去年年底的
As we all know, in May 2018,
克强总理的政
the
府
National Conference on Environment Protection and also the Economic Working Group meeting by the end of the year, and also this morning's Premier Lee's work report delivery. Actually, we had a well-planned
如何进一步
arrangement and also have the concrete requirements on our work.
中央的各项部
How to better act upon
尤其是
the Xi Jinping thought on
针对
environmental protection and also the requirement from the State Council and the Party Central Committee, especially as you mentioned the prominent issues in pollution, how we can do a better job
的这个前天
and find our clear priority for 2019.
李干杰部长他在这个部长
This is a very good question.
提出了这个4、5、6、7、22
Minister Li Ganjie actually 2 days ago he mentioned a lot of matters
结合自己
in the minister corridor.
工作的情况以及发展中心的工作实践，仅从
So from my practice of my day-to-day work at the Population Resource and Environment Committee, I would like to raise 3 suggestions. We talk about the priority. Number 1, we should put our focus on integrated progress on air, soil, water. As we know, after the 18th National Party Congress, we put the ecological conservation as the important part of the 5-sphere integrated plan. And we also will step up the 4-pronged comprehensive strategy. And we can see the ecological conservation already and will continue to be a historic change. We already achieved a notable progress. Put under our today's context, I feel that at different areas or at a different time period, we should have our different priority. But talk about the air, water, soil pollution, and also the polluted levels. And we should say this is a formidable and also acute task for us. We should make the coordinated and holistic approach to deal with this issue. We talk about up in the air, down to the earth, in the water, up to the mountain, including the land and sea. Actually, this is what we talk about holistic areas. We need to make a coordinated and integrated measures in this area. Of course, the 3 critical battles should have their clear priority, but we should know where we should put our energy towards which direction. Talk about the air pollution prevention and control. We should first focus on the area of Beijing, Tianjin, Hebei integrated areas, Yangtze River economic belt, and plain air, water area. I think people in Beijing have noticed that 2 years ago and last year, we have witnessed a big improvement in air condition. The indicators that should go up, go up, should go down, go down. But look at the number in January, February, show us that we talk about the air pollution in fall and winter time period also need further efforts because the situation still coming back and forth. Some days good, some days are not that good. Talk about water pollution. We should look at the water resources areas. We talk about black and more odorous water. That should be one problem to be solved. Another is the safe water access. Those should be guaranteed. Look at the Yangtze economic belt. That also need our efforts for the ecological conservation. Our energy should also goes to the investigation, oversight, and statistic work. We should know exactly what's going on. We should have our sound way to really deal with the different situations in different areas because soil is quite different. It's have the varying scenarios. So we should know exactly the symptom at each and every place and give the specific solution. Another thing that is really close to the air, water, and soil pollution, another is the solid waste, and also the environment in rural areas. Another quite a prominent area problem in rural area is the use or the overuse of chemical fertilizer and pesticide. And second, I would like to suggest that we should build a rule-based government oversight then enterprises should follow the standards for emission, and the society and the other parties should play their due roles. So why I'm saying this is every player should take their due responsibility to create a sound environment and atmosphere for everyone. So from the government level, from the institutional and mechanism level, we should have the really good policies in place. Through laws, transparency, accountability mechanism should put the enterprises behave themselves and follow the standards. Another is how we can really maintain a very fair environment for enterprises to compete. That's also another important issue. And we should really think about how we can better improve our set of sound policies for emission reduction, and also encourage enterprises to follow these rules and regulations. A very important link for our country is also to guide and educate the public to build a consensus on green family, green schools, green community, green transportation, and green consumption. And we should also mobilize our public to actively engage in different kinds of the charity activities to protect our environment, and in order to have a lifestyle featuring low carbon emission. And the third suggestion I would like to give is we should do all-out effort in this area, but of course within our capability. And during the whole process of dealing with the pollution issues, some issues may have a big but short-term impact to the enterprise's profitability or to a certain group of people. We need to maintain a society stable. We should make sure we provide the guarantee to the targeted group of people or the targeted or affected enterprises. During our course, we should make the government disciplined, and we should solicit opinions from the public and be patient to do more policy popularization so the whole public society can understand your policies and give you support. Thank you.
Next question.
好，谢谢主持人，我是农民日报全媒体记者。我想问秦国勇常委，我注意到您作为全国政协常委，持续关注脱贫攻坚问题。去年您参加了解决深度贫困地区脱贫问题的调研，并在专题议政性常委会上做出了发言。请问您在脱贫一线调研有什么样的感受呢？如何建立长效的机制，让政协委员能够持续发力，助推脱贫攻坚呢？谢谢您。
With Farmers Daily, Ms. Qin Bo-yong, you are in the CPPCC Standing Committee. You've been continuously monitoring the fight against the poverty. Last year, you took part in the survey study on poverty alleviation in deeply impoverished areas and spoke at a special deliberation of the Standing Committee. Could you share some thoughts from your experience in the field surveys and perhaps some ideas on how to set up long-term mechanisms to enable the CPPCC members to make continued contribution to poverty alleviation campaign? Thank you.
感谢农民日报的记者提问。确实，我去年的5月份呢，
Thank you for your
参加
question.
了全国政协独展公副主席
Indeed,
亲自带队
last
的
year in May, I
由我们政协
attended
社发委组织的到云
one
南
of
怒
the
江进行
standing
深度调
committee
研，就是
meeting,
对深
and
度
we
贫困地
visited
区
Luzang of
脱贫
Yunnan
攻坚工
province
作进
for
行深
further
度调研。
investigation.
那么
And
这
the
次调
purpose
研
to
呢，
better
应该说
understand
我感
the
觉到自己还是深受教育，
areas with
感触很
extreme
多，
poverty.
收获也很多。
During that trip, I was quite impressed and I learned a lot from
我
that
们国家
trip.
深度贫困地区脱贫攻坚工作以来发生的翻天覆地的变
For
化，
that survey,
感受到我们国家
we
脱
can
贫
felt
攻
the
坚力度
fundamental
之大，
changes that has been taken
规
place
模之
since the
广，
start of
影
the
响之
poverty
深都是
alleviation
前所
efforts.
未有的。脱贫攻
And
坚
also
工
we
作
have a
呢，
large
取得
scale
了
of the poverty
决定性的
alleviation
进
work
展，
across
应
the
该说是
country.
谱写了人类反贫困历史上的
And
一
we
个新
have
篇章。
made a
而且我们
decisive
通过这样一个
progress
深度
for
调研，也
the
更加
poverty
坚定地
alleviation
打赢脱
and
贫攻
actually
坚
write
战
a new
的信
chapter
心
for
和
the
决
poverty
心。
alleviation in
我
China.
们调研
And
去的地
through
方
the
呢
survey,
是怒江
we are
州
more confident
卤
to
水
win the
市
battle
的
of poverty
金满村。
alleviation.
这个村是
We
坐落
actually
在
visiting
高丽贡山的
Lushu
半山腰
City
上。
and Xinmeng
那么这里
village
的村
in
民呢，
Yunnan
祖祖辈
province.
辈的都是
For
住
this
着一
village,
种房
actually,
子，
it
这
is
个房子呢
located
是
in
由木
in
棍
between
当
of the
柱子，
mountains.
由
From
篱笆做墙，
generations, and these
木
people
板
are
做房
living
顶，
in the
这样
very
的叫
shanty
千角房、
houses. They're
千角
actually
楼。
using
这个楼的上面住人，楼下养的是
using
猪和
very
鸡。
shabby
而且这个地
woods to
方
build up
是
their
一方水土
houses.
养不活一方人
People
的
living
深度贫
upstairs,
困
and
地
for the
区。
downstairs, they're
那
actually
么
raising
脱贫攻
pigs
坚以
and
来
some
呢，
of
我
the
们
poultry.
看到了当地
So
的
this
贫
area
困
is
群众已经
considered
从
as
山
the
顶
area
的千角
which
楼
was struck seriously
搬到
by
了
the poverty.
山脚下的崭新的住宅楼。
Last time
而且
when
当
we
地
visit,
的
we found that these
政
people
府
has
给这
actually
些贫困群众
relocated
都提
to
供
a
了
new
公益岗
residential
位，
area.
解决了就业问题。可以说，他们既
And
挪
also
了
we
穷
realized
窝，
that the
又
local
拔了穷
government has
根，
offered
他
some
们的
job
生产生活条
opportunities
件
for these
都发生了
villages.
巨大的
So
变
for
化。
these people, they
另
have
外一个
moved to
感受
new
呢，我感
houses.
觉
They
我们
also
参
start
加
a
这
new
种
life with new
深度
jobs,
贫困
and
地
we
区
could
的
see a
调
lot
研
of
呢，
changes
为
in
我
their
们
lives.
建言资政也奠定了坚实的基
Another
础。
thing I want to share is that
卢展公副主席
during
带队，
the
我
trip,
们采取
it
了
can
一
help
竿
us
子插到底
to
的方
better
式，
provide
直接
suggestions to
深
continue
入到
our
基层，
endeavor in the
进
poverty
村
alleviation.
入户，看了实情，
We actually
看了实
go
景，
down to the
听了实
grassroots
话，
and went
摸到了
into
真实
some
情
of the
况，
villagers'
掌握了第一手
households
资料，
to better
而
understand
且
the
我们
actual
这样
situation
一个深
and
度调
listen
研，为我
to
们建言
the
资政
first-hand
奠
information
定
from
了
the
坚实基础。
villages.
我举个例子，
And for this kind of survey, it will help us to provide better suggestions to the
大家都
government.
穿上雨衣，
For example, the
穿上
day
雨
when we
鞋，
arrive in
走在
Lushe,
泥
it is
泞
quite rainy
蜿
and
蜒的
everyone
那
are
个山道
putting
上，
on the
一侧是大
raincoats.
山，另外一侧就是悬崖。
We're
悬
actually
崖下
going
面就是
through the
奔腾的
muddy
河
way,
水。
and on one
我
side
们
it's
基本上是手
mountains
脚
and the
并
other
用，
side is just
走
a
了1个
cliff.
小时，到达半山
Yeah,
腰，
we could see
到
the
了群众的
rivers
家
and the
中。
streams
当地
running
群众看到
everywhere.
我们，
It takes
其
us
实当
around
时
like
是
half
头
an
发也
hour
淋
to
湿了，
arrive at the
衣服也淋
household
湿
of
了，
the
这
villager.
种状况也非常感动。这次
When
调
the
研我
villagers
本人也
see
是
us,
深
we
度
are
教育，
actually
特
in a
别是
mess,
看到脱
and
贫
they're
攻坚一
quite
线的基层干部，
touched by our
他们
trip.
以奋斗的精神，以务实的作风，
I also
在
feel
扎扎
very
实实
touched
推
that
进基
some
层脱
of
贫攻
the
坚工作取得实效。
our officials, they're actually working at the front line to help with the poverty
刚才您提
alleviation.
问到的委
Personally,
员
I was quite touched.
参与这种扶贫攻坚工作的长效机制，我认为我们
As you
政协已经
mentioned,
建立起来
as your
这样的
second
长效机
question,
制，就
so
让
whether
委
we
员
should
能
step
够
up a
在长效
long-term
机制中
mechanism
来
to dealing
持
with
续
the
地
poverty
关注这样的工
alleviation,
作。
my answer is that actually we already have a long-term mechanism.
有双周
With
座
this
谈会，
mechanism, we
有
can
网络议
pay
政，
close
那么这样
attention
一个
to
形
the
式呢，是
development and the
实现了一
progress
个
of the poverty
建言资
alleviation.
政和
We
民
have
主共治
online
的一个双向
deliberation
发
and
展。
by weekly
应该说
sessions.
委
This
舞台已
kind of
经搭建起
mechanism
来了，
will actually
机
help
制
us
也
to
建
build a
立起来了。
consensus and
那么
also
我们作为政
contribute
协委员呢，
our
我觉
suggestions.
得
We
应该
already
更
have
多
the
的是做
platform in
好
place.
扎扎实实的
As
调
a
研工作，
CPPCC
积极
member, for
建言资
myself,
政，
I
为脱
think
贫攻
we
坚
should
工作
make
出
solid
力，
efforts in
推动我
survey
们全
and
面建立自强社会，
investigations and
为
also
实现
offer
200个
suggestions
目标，贡
and
献委员
contribute
的力
to
量。我就说这
poverty
些。
alleviation and and to secure a decisive victory in building a well-off society. Thank you.
好，东区，就这位。后边这位，对，就你了。
谢谢主持人，各位委员们好，我是中央广播电视总台央视记者。我的问题是提给刘炳江委员的。刘委员您好，我看到呢，蓝天保卫战3年行动计划已经在去年开始实施了。那今年是打赢蓝天保卫战的攻坚之年。那我看到您在前不久召开的生态环境部例行发布会上表示，既然是打赢蓝天保卫战，那就要军中无戏言，完不成任务必将被问责。所以在这儿呢，想请问您目前这项工作的进展如何？另外呢，“13.5”环境空气质量的约束性指标完成情况怎么样？谢谢。
With CCTV, And my question is for Mr. Liu Bingjiang. Good afternoon, members. The 3-year action plan on defending the blue sky was put into effect last year. And this year will be the decisive year for winning a victory in the fight against pollution. Mr. Wu Bingjiang, I remember you saying in the interview that the fight for blue skies is a real battle and all the commitments must be honored like military commands. And those who fail their mission must be held accountable. So my question is, what's the progress of the work you are doing, and will the air quality targets in the 13th five-year plan be met? Thank you.
谢谢你的提问。看样雾霾这个问题呢，始终是个热点。
Thank you for your question.
这个当前进展怎么样？我先
I believe
向大家
smog
报
is
告
always
一
a
账。
hotspot issue.
那么去年1年
As
来
for
呢，
the latest
化
development
解钢铁
information
产生
about
3000多万
the
吨。这个
battle
全
defending the
国
blue sky,
8.1万千瓦的燃煤
actually
技
last
术达到
year
了天然气的排放水平，
we have
建成了世界上
overcapacity of the steel and
最大的
coal, and also the
清洁发
emission
电
level has up to
煤
the
发电
natural
的基
gas
地，
emission level.
淘汰了1.3万台的
We also built a
路遥。
coal-based power
那么全
generating
国的
unit last year,
煤炭占一次能
and
源
we
消
are
费的比
actually
例首次跌破了
eliminating
60%。
over 130,000
59%
tons of the coals.
而且是关掉了2.3
And we are
万台的
using
燃
the
煤小
clean
锅炉。
energy to replace those outdated
清北
emissions.
方地区
And
清
we
洁
are
区呢
also closed down
中央财政司也已经
23,000 units
达到
of
了35个。去年1年
coal-fired
北方清洁
power
区呢
generating units.
煤炭
And also
被
we have
清洁能
trial
源替代
pilot sites of
完
over
成了480万户以上。供砖铁实
15,000.
现
And
取得了
last
实
year
际性
we
的
are
进展。
actually substitute
那么
the coal with
公路
clean
货运量
energy
增了
and
9.1%，
sustainable energy.
这是几十年来增量最大的一次。
We actually
而且是
increased the
老旧汽车
transport
淘汰了
on the express roads on
那还有很多
9%,
的数据。
and we are
那么
actually
这些
eliminated
措
over
施呢
2 million
支持了全国的空气质
outdated
量
cars.
2018年1年
So there are many other figures
全
to
国
support
PM2.5 下降
our
了
efforts in defending the blue sky, meaning that
啊
we
流量
actually
天数增了2.6个百分
better manage
北京
the
达到
air
了
quality in our country.
那地方像监测这些数据呢
And actually in Beijing, we are having a good condition in the air quality,
所以
and the days without
这些措施的实施呢
heavy smog days has been increased by
更加坚定
2.6%.
了我们的信念。这个
For all of these
从
measures
我
that
这
we
个
have
工
been
作层面来
taken,
说我是非常有信心。
we are quite confident
2020
that,
年月塑性指标能够完成，
at least
因为来自
from
两
my
方
view,
面
I have
工作层面
full confidence
一方面呢，
to fulfill the
2017
indicators from the 13th
大
five-year
街小巷
plan.
收官之年，
I would like to emphasize 2
最慢
points.
的就北京
First of
65可能
all,
完成。我相信很多专家学者甚至新闻媒体。
in 2017, we do face some difficult tasks, especially the air conditions in Beijing. I believe all of you have be aware of that. Because at that time, no one believed that we will make a remarkable progress in improving the air quality in Beijing. There's no way that we can reduce the micro grant by the 15. I understand everyone is concerned about the indicator.
16个部委和省级政府会签。
At that time, I still remember 16 ministerial organizations and institutions. They have formed a joint action plan, and for that plan, it was approved within 10 days.
这一仗打的呢，北京60微克大气石川
I think
一起的
everyone
收官之年呢，
wants
增
to
强
be
了我们的信心
united and deal
也
with
是
the
我
air
们探出
pollution.
了一条打好打赢这个仗的一个
Since the signing of the document to
有法子。
defend the blue sky,
第二个呢是
it actually strengthened our confidence to solve the problems in air
全
pollution.
国一流的大气气象等科学家，就是总理拿出了大约近6个亿的，
Second point I want to mention is that
所以
we have over 2,000 researchers, and also they have invested over 600 million to help with the air pollution. And actually, we have found out the root cause for the smog, and we can actually predict the density of the PM 2.5 and make that information transparent to our citizens. For the researchers, they're actually conducting monitoring in over 39 cities and made up targeted plans to better handle the smog days. Regarding your question about the accountability, about the law on air pollution, there is a dedicated regulation that specifies the rights and obligations. If we cannot fulfill the task in defending the blue sky, or if we fail to deliver some of the indicators, relevant officials will be held accountable. Actually, in January and February, we do see that the PM 2.5 continue to increase. However, sometimes we have some objective weather conditions, and we cannot control those conditions. And some of the local governments, they are saying that we have made a lot of efforts and made a lot of progress in defending the blue sky. They want to have a rest. And some people are saying that they have already done everything within their capacity. However, that's not enough to win the battle of the blue sky campaign. If we want to win the blue sky campaign, we have to stay committed to this endeavor. Still, I want to mention that we have to walk the talk. Please wait and see our efforts.
陈委员您好，去年全国政协常委会第3次会议专门就强化综合支撑、提高污染防治保障水平进行过专题讨论。多位常委和委员围绕绿色金融发展建言献策。作为金融领域的政协委员，请您介绍一下我国绿色金融业务的开展情况以及取得的成果。谢谢。
With Caixin Weekly, may I raise a question to Mr. Chen Yulu? Last year, the third meeting of the CPC Standing Committee contained a special discussion on strengthening comprehensive support for pollution control. Members, including Standing Committee members, shared a lot of insights on the issue. With your expertise in financing, could you introduce a bit about the development of green financing in China? Thank you.
谢谢财新的问题。那么18大以来呢，习近平总书记提出的绿水青山就是金山银山的新发展理念已经深入人心。
General Secretary Xi Jinping mentioned that the
支持
lucid water and large mountain are invaluable assets. I believe everyone actually quite familiar with that notion. Talking about our critical battles, I believe this is our due responsibilities. And we also have our market-based mechanism. We should take advantage from that. Talk about refinancing, we talk about the financial measures, and also the more effective usage of capitals. These three areas, I believe, should be really conducive to the emerging industry development and also the upgrading of traditional industries. Since 2016, we have stepped up our work in green financing and made notable progress. In 2016, we announced and published the guidance of green financing. This also marks that we are the first one in the world that the government led the work in building the green finance. And talk about the products in these areas, we also witnessed a fast growth. By the end of 2018, the 21 key banks look at the outstanding amount of green financing reached 8 trillion yuan, 16% increase from the level of 2017. So this is really rapid growth. We talk about the green bond reached 6 trillion RMB as ranking among the top around the world in scale. Look at the global stage. China's green financing also enjoyed a greater say and also play a leading role globally, guided by the government. And the suggestions towards green financing also included in the joint declaration of APEC Hangzhou Summit and also the Hamburg Action Plan and also Buenos Aires, Argentina topic agenda. This actually push forward the progress of green financing globally. This morning, in the government's work report delivered by Premier Li Keqiang, also mentioned we should further our work in green financing. So for our next step, there are 3 key priorities. First, we should build a unified standard system in terms of green financing, which requires that we should be unified domestically and also in line with global practice. That also should be very clear and easy to implement. Right now, we have a foundation in this area. We have existing standards in green finance. A lot of things that applicable we should bring into the standardized systems. And we also have a quite good and best practice in other countries that are also good for us to learn from. Approved by State Council, we actually roll out 5 demo projects in 5 areas. With our 2 years' efforts, we also accumulated many practical experience. Our second priority goes to that we should better leverage the role of government. We should further improve the policy environment. PBOC actually put the green financing and green loans include in the performance evaluation scope. That is also a good way to encourage the financial institutions to do more in green financing. And the third one is we should further our efforts in globalization in terms of linking with the practice of other countries. Last year, China with other countries, we make an initiative in building the network of green finance. Why we should build up this network? Because we would like to build a sustainable platform to drive our work in this regard with other countries. And PBOC will play a more active role in this regard. All in all, through our high quality in developing green financing, we would like to see a high quality economic development in China.
女士。
谢谢主持人。我是大众日报的记者。我的问题是有关于脱贫攻坚，想要提问给王培安委员。2019年呢是脱贫攻坚的关键1年，要实现2不愁3保障的这样一个既定目标呢，医疗保障可以说是其中最难啃的一块硬骨头了。那今天我们注意到，在政府工作报告中也提到，要着重解决实现2不愁3保障过程中所面临的突出问题。那我想请问王委员，您认为从健康扶贫的角度，怎样才能够让群众贫困群众看得起并看得上病？谢谢。
Thank you. With Danzhong Daily, Mr. Wang Peian, this year is a key year for fulfilling the mission of poverty elimination. Among its specific goals, ensuring basic medical services for all is perhaps the most challenging. May I ask for your view on how to ensure that medical services are affordable and accessible to people in poverty? Thank you.
首先，谢谢记者朋友的提问。我的观点是，健康扶贫是打赢脱贫攻坚战的关键。2018年，全国有1386万农村贫困人口实现脱贫，健康扶贫发挥了重要的作用。全国有190.5万户因病致贫返贫的贫困户脱了贫，占贫困户总户数的40.1%。目前全国农村贫困人口还有1660万，其中因病致贫返贫占40%以上。而且越往后，
we still have 16.6 million people in poverty, and we have around a certain number of people actually slip back to the poverty all due to the disease. So this is quite different from housing or other issues causing people falling under the poverty line. So this is really hard to solve. General Secretary Xi Jinping participates in the CPPCC meeting, and he mentioned that a healthy way to help leave people out of poverty is a very important message, and this actually is the really critical challenges we should deal with, and we cannot really solve it overnight. By 2020, we're saying we should really leave all the poverty people out of poverty, and this cannot just solve, or we cannot say after 2020, all things done, and we should not worry much about that. We should think about how we can provide more targeted measures in these areas. The guidance given by the General Secretary Xi Jinping actually laid out the solid foundation for us where we should go in the future, and I believe this is our moving directions in our work. This morning, delivered by Premier Li in the government work report, saying that the provision poverty alleviation, which also require us to further lighten the burden on the people in the poverty area, especially people facing the heavy disease or serious disease. We should do a better job in this regard. So we should act upon the requirement and the plan made by the central government. The first and the foremost thing is we should make our service affordable and accessible for our people. Right now, we provide 3 areas of guarantee. We have the basic health insurance, we have the severe disease insurance plan, and also have the certain healthy plan in this area. But still, only 50 to 60% of their costs can be reimbursed. Therefore, we should think about the additional insurance should put in place to help our people to reimburse more costs that are incurred. And we have the certain system, but that should need further improvement. Along with enhancement of hospitalization service, people have more and higher requirement on hospitalization. We talk about the hospitalization headcount rate that increased to 4.2, and last year the number increased to 6. But we still see this is an uneven development. For the impoverished area, the number actually less than 3. So with increasing demand in these areas, we should have a long-term system that can guarantee people's basic needs are met. We talk about reimbursement, we talk about the payable amount of hospitability should be further covered. Make sure the number can hit to 90%, which means the majority of the costs that are incurred in hospital that can be reimbursed. So people, especially people in poverty-stricken areas, is affordable to access all these services. And we also specified 21 severe disease, and we also have specific payment systems. Accordingly, make sure all their bills can be reimbursed in our insurance system. And second, we also have a group of talents that are capable to deliver the service, and also we have the medical consortium and also the healthcare insurance, and also provide more service to the primary level areas. And we should have a group of people that are capable to provide corresponding services and improve our weak links. Make sure we have the standards put in place to improve our system, and also we have the access and evaluate the performance delivered by the different level of hospitals. Make sure the people can receive the service from the hospital first and then pay the bill. And also make sure they can reimburse their costs when and wherever it incurred. And third, we should have less disease happen. We should have the early prevention that can happen. And also we have the specific actions that improve people's health condition, and also look at the disease prevention efforts be strengthened in rural areas, and also improve people's habits in sanitation, and also let them have a much healthier way of life and living styles.
谢谢主持人，我是法制日报法制网记者，我想提问秦波勇常委。您好，去年围绕脱贫攻坚问题，全国政协专门到贫困县进行调研，很多全国政协委员的提案也关注到这一问题。我想请问，政协委员在基层调研的过程中，有没有发现基层在扶贫资金的使用上存在一些什么样的问题？请问，在您看来，应当怎样确保扶贫资金能够得到安全和高效的使用？谢谢。
With Legal Daily, and my question is for Ms. Qin Bo-yong. Last year, the CPPCC members paid a number of field surveys to the impoverished areas to make contributions to the poverty alleviation efforts. My question is, have the members spotted issues in the management and use of poverty alleviation funds at the grassroots level, and what recommendations would you make for ensuring effective and efficient use of that money? Thank you.
谢谢你提的这个问题。应当说，在脱贫攻坚过程当中，我们持续的关注了在基层脱贫攻坚的一些资金安全问题。那么，以
We follow closely on the situation of the use of poverty relief fund at the grassroots. CPC Central Committee, with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, attach great importance in poverty alleviation. They have set out guidelines to use of the poverty relief fund, meaning that all of the use of the fund should be transparent. And we also noted some situations, some problems in relation to the usage of the poverty relief fund. And we asked for relevant departments to put more attention to the secure use of the poverty relief fund. Our suggestion is that the fund should be used appropriately. So all of the money should be spent on the impoverished population. And we have to pay more attention to the poverty alleviation through education, industrial development, and to support the social security program. So we want to make sure that there is a targeted poverty alleviation through these efforts. We also pay a lot of attention to the safety use of the Poverty Alleviation Fund. And General Secretary also set out the guideline that we have to provide oversight and supervision on the use of this money. And I think the use of the money is quite important for us. We have to identify poverty relief projects. And during the process, we have to make sure that all of the use of the fund are used in a transparent way to make sure that these villages can monitor the use of the fund. Also, I noticed your question concerning the efficiency of the use of the fund. We have to make proper use of the fund to make sure that it can play its maximum role. At the grassroots level, on one hand, we have to get accessible to the poverty relief fund. At the same time, we also have to consider the interest of the poor families, and also we want to enhance some of the self-generated impetus for these villages. We want to invest the money to them so that they can deliver more prosperity to their lives.
谢谢主持人，我是澎湃新闻记者，我的问题想提给李伟常委。您好，散煤治理是打赢蓝天保卫战的一项举措，但是在这2年，全国在推进煤改气、煤改电的过程当中，也一度出现了气荒问题。所以想请问您，要减少环境污染，那么在城市或者区域的发展过程当中，应该如何稳步地推进能源结构的调整和优化？谢谢。
With the paper, and my question is for Mr. Li Wei, controlling the use of coal is a measure intended for winning the battle against poverty. But in the process of switching from coal to gas and electricity, people have experienced gas shortages from time to time. Certainly we want to reduce pollution, but considering the needs in urbanization and regional development, the adjustment of energy mix need to be steady. And what do you think should be done to achieve that? Thank you.
这个问题提得很好，我理解呢，你这个问题的核心在于后半段，就是这个能源结构调整啊和城市区域的发展问题。
I think the important part of your question is waiting towards the latter part, that is about the urbanization and also the change of the energy mix. The urbanization rate reached 59.8% by the end of last year, and that is based on the permanent urban residents. However, there is a fast flow of the residency in the urban area. The energy consumption and also the pollutant emission is actually closely related to the emission from the factories. If we can tackle the pollution problem in the urban area, we think this is quite appropriate. Especially, you mentioned the energy mix. In recent years, we step up to handle the pollution issues in the urban area, and also we keep optimizing and improving the energy mix and to improve the effective use of sustainable energy. At the same time, we also step up to carbon dioxide emission. I have some data to share with you. Since the 18th National Congress, for the energy mix, for the coal, the share of the coal with the energy mix has actually downed by 8%, but for the clean energy and the sustainable energy, its share to energy mix has actually increased by 6%. So the prominent issue is that we have a heavy share of the coal for the energy mix. Last year, the share of the coal in the energy mix is around 70%. By now, the coal mix is around like 59%, but still it is a high percentage because the use of coal will have some pollutant emissions. That's why I always say that we have to linked the urbanization and urban development together with the optimization of the energy mix. In my view, my perspective is that we should focus on the following area to further optimize the energy mix and to further improve the mix. First, for key areas in the large and medium size of the country, especially in the industrial areas, we should replace the coal with gas and replace the coal with electricity. And also, we have to control the aggregate consumption of the coal. The reason why I propose that, as I have just mentioned, coal actually generates a lot of pollutants and damage the air condition. Currently, the actual consumption of coal is almost 4 billion metric tons. Massive consumption of coal will generate pollutants and also toxic gas emissions. This will actually damage the atmospheric conditions. And I think the peak times to use coal, we have just passed that time. However, the emission of the carbon dioxide will reach to its peak by 2030. A major contribution is actually made from coal. That's why I propose we use gas and electricity to replace coal. And the second point I want to make is that in the urban area, we should promote the use of energy-saving units. With the advancement of technology, we should make full use of those sustainable energies. And also, I want to propose a third point. It is to better make use of the heat that was generated by the coal. Another point I want to make is that by providing air conditioning and also some ground heating, we should better use a new energy for generating heating. I realized one of the spots in the Hebei province, especially in the Xiongan new area, they're actually making good use of the geothermal energy. Before the establishment of the Xiongan new area, one local company started the development for the geothermal energy. Actually, by the end of last year, the area that can enjoy the geothermal energy in Xiongan new area amounts to 8.7 square meters. talk about the sustainable energy. And also we have to consider the wind power, the electricity power, and this is actually depend on the natural resources. So some of these renewable energy is not that stable. So we have to make good use of this sustainable energy. So probably at the first stage, we will implement some of the pilot area. We have to make full use of those renewable energy.
我的问题给这届的部委员，请问陈委员，2018年底的中央经济工作会议提出，打好防范化解重大风险攻坚战，要坚持结构性去杠杆的基本思路。但是，随着中国经济下行压力加大，您认为去杠杆是否会让位于稳增长？如何处理好两者的关系？谢谢。
From Economic Daily, my question is for Mr. Chen Yulu. The Central Economic Work Conference last year called for a continued commitment to structural deleveraging in order to prevent and resolve major risks. But with the downward pressure mounting, do you think the deleveraging efforts will give way to maintaining stable growth? And how do you look at the relationship between the two? Thank you.
谢谢经济日报，您提了一个非常尖锐的问题。
Thank you for your question. This is a really sharp question. How to better strike a balance between diffusing risk and secure growth? This is also a quite discussion among the members. We talk about the critical battles. Ranking number 1 is to diffuse and forestall the risk. As General Secretary mentioned, that we should forestall a systemic risk. This is our key priority. We talk about deleveraging. It's an important way to solve the potential risk. The lesson learned from the previous economic or financial turmoil was saying that if they have really high leveraging ratio, or in the short time period, a sharp increase or sharp rise in their leveraging always cause to a economic turmoil. In the recent years, deleveraging received some initial progress. We talk about leveraging ratio, every year on average increased by more than 10%. Which saying that we actually accumulated a quite high level of risks in the very short time period. From 2016 to 2018, the number on average only around 5.8%. So we cut the growth rate to half. 2018 alone, the number further down by another 1.5%. Deleveraging, we can tell, we achieve our initial goals. Right now, we are doing the structural deleveraging. What we would like to see is the SOEs and also the local government's deleveraging number will further down and to lower the number of debt. My understanding on structural deleveraging and also the relation to securing growth, they are not conflict to each other. We talk about the goal or ultimate goal of structural deleveraging. We would like to see a very stable financial environment. As long as we secure a stable scenario in financial sectors, we can achieve a stable economic social development. Right now, we are facing a quite mounting downward pressure on economy. We should have our monetary, physical monetary to work in the counter-cyclical period. We should further strengthen our efforts in structural deleveraging. Last year, we're facing a quite large pressure on economy, and the PBOC cut 5 times on RRR, which provide a very good and long-term sustainable liquidity to the real economy. And during our course of structural deleveraging, we talk about zombie enterprises. We should tour them all out. By doing so, we can make a better use of idle funds and resources, and also allocate them to higher performance enterprises, which are conducive to a high growth rate achieved by enterprises and SOEs. Another is we talk about DA's bond debt to asset, debt to equity swap, also a conducive way to achieve our goal. By doing so, we can first achieve deleveraging and also will lighten the burden on the enterprises. They can achieve a higher ROE. Last July, we actually released 500 billion in this regard. So this grant of money actually channeled to the debt to equity swap. As long as we have everything in a well-orderly way and a well-regulated way, I believe we have every confidence to strike the balance between structural deleveraging and stable economic growth. I also would like to emphasize that in order to maintain a long-term sustainable situation in structural deleveraging, we need to have both efforts from financial and monetary sector. We look at the supply-side structural reform in financial sectors. We need to move the institutional and mechanical barriers, make sure everything can operate in an open, transparent, resilient way. And we should also let the equity financing to play more role to support the real economy. This will also do good to our long-term deleveraging. Another aspect, we should firmly move forward along the real economy structural side reform that require a joint effort among the key players. So we should really do a job to clean all the zombie enterprises out of the market and make sure we can unleash the market entities to be more energetic and also to like the Chinese economy to develop in a healthier, more orderly and high-quality way. So we have every confidence to forestall a systemic risk and also put a solid foundation for our long-term sustainable development in our economy.
谢谢主持人，我是北京广播电视台融媒体中心的记者聂一金。因为一直持续关注环保的工作，所以想向刘炳江委员提问。我们这2年特别关注到北京市在治霾方面力度越来越大，而且成效也是非常的显著。老百姓在微博、微信当中刷蓝天的次数是越来越多了。那么，针对现在我们的大气污染治理工作已经进入到爬坡过坎的一个攻坚阶段，北京市和其他一些省市呢，都提出了治霾要1微克1微克的抠这样的新要求。所以想请问刘委员，您认为未来还有哪些污染源需要我们重点的进行治理？另外，大气污染治理工作还需要在哪些方面持续的发力，从而让老百姓能够收获到更多的蓝天？谢谢您。
With Beijing TV, I've been mainly covering issues related to the environment, so my question is for Mr. Liu Bingjiang. In the last couple of years, Beijing has kept stepping up its efforts to treat smog and has achieved good progress. The people are posting pictures of the blue skies more often on Weibo and WeChat. Now we're in the tougher part of the battle against pollution, and Beijing and other provinces and regions have stepped up their efforts in this direction, and they have declared to fight pollution microgram by microgram So my question is, moving forward, what are the key sources of pollution that need special attention, and what are the priority areas in treating air pollution in the next step? Thank you.
谢谢啊，这个你说的对，确实大气污染治理，尤其北京
Thank you.
确实进入了
You're right.
人家肯应
For air pollution treatment, especially in Beijing, we have entered into a critical period. We have to crack all the hard nuts and deal with all of the toughest issues in addressing pollution. Actually, I feel more pressure compared to others. Probably I can release some of the data for Beijing, Tianjin, and Hebei province. So the size, as opposed to the national territory, accounts for around like 7.2%. However, within this 7.2% land, most of them are actually devoted to the chemical and chemical plants. And also, most of them are factories to produce coal. And there is a high density for the factories actually gather in the 7.2% of the national land. And also in these areas, if there is no wind days, and then we will suffer from the smog, because the emission is way high compared to the standard. Even though we can make some structural changes, but it is very difficult to completely change the energy mix. For example, in Beijing, we do have to tackle the pollution issue microgram by microgram. And by 2018, actually, we have the capacity of the coal around like 30 million metric tons. And also there were cement factories alongside of the Beijing, Tianjin, and Hebei provinces. With our concerted efforts, some of the factories actually allocated out of this area. And in Beijing, they are dedicated in the reconstructing. And for the air quality, it is actually already went down from 90 microgram to 50 microgram. As you may know that in 2017, the heavy smoke days in Beijing, it is around 58 days, but back in 2018, the heavy smoke days is only 15 days. Probably all of you can feel this change. Last year for the ecological environment in Beijing, and we actually received some of the data for the density of PM 2.5 in Beijing. And according to the statistics, we can also track down on the source of the pollutants. For all of these pollutants generated from Beijing, and 2/3 is actually coming from Beijing itself, and 1/3 is actually passing from other surrounding regions in Beijing. And in recent days, actually, most of the sources of the pollutants, 50 to 70% of the pollutants are actually coming from other regions outside of Beijing. And among all of those pollutants, 45% is actually coming from automobiles as opposed to the coal. And currently, you may see there are a lot of new energy vehicles in Beijing, including some of the public transportation buses. And for some of the trucks that has been transported to Beijing, we also conduct very strict inspection. And last year, we have checked over 210 trucks. So we have to better manage the exhaust emission from those trucks. But of course, we still have to consider the structural issues in Beijing. From the area of industry structure, In Hebei province, there has been phased out around 40 million metric tons of steel. And for some of the traditional resources, we have replaced them with renewable energy. As Mr. Li has gave us some updates on the energy mix, coal accounts for around 59% of the total energy mix. Actually, this percentage is as high as 80% in Beijing. So the priority is that we have to step up the replacement of coal with other renewable energies, especially in the rural areas. By using scattered coal, this will be the optimum option. This will help to improve the GDP at the same time. By using the renewable energy, it can also help to improve the air quality. And also we talk about the exhaust emission for the public transportation. Some of the transportation should be shifting from the highway express to the railroad. So that's why we have made a lot of investments for the railway, so that we do not use the large trucks to make transportation through the expressway. In terms of the use of the rural land, we have to better control the constructions. So each year we have a very defined and targeted measures. The most critical point I want to make is that we have to work hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder, in order to better manage the emission of the pollutants. So probably this year we have to pull out a list for the emission of the source of pollutions. So sometimes you may see that 4 days ago the PM 2.5 is extremely high, and we get better as days moving forward, meaning that we are taking effective measures to addressing the pollution. Even though we have thousands of measures, but we think the carbon dioxide emissions should be reduced, and this will be the priority for our task.
Regarding China's birth policy. So I wondered if China is considering abolishing birth restrictions at all, and if so, is there a timetable? And before any new policy should be introduced, what's China's official take on unapproved births, such as the third child or children born to unmarried women? And also, in your opinion, how would the demographic shift change or affect the national economy, China's global competitiveness, and also the country's pension system? And what do you think China should do or can do to address its aging problem? Thank you.
泰晤士报记者想问王培安委员关于中国生育政策的问题。请问中国是否在考虑取消计划生育？有没有时间表？在有新政策之前，政府对计划外生育，比如3孩未婚生育等，持何种官方立场？你觉得中国的人口结构变化对其国民经济、全球竞争力、养老体系有怎样的影响？中国对于其人口老龄化问题可以做或者能够做什么？谢谢。
这个首先呢，谢谢《泰晤士报》的记者对中国人口发展问题的关注。
Thank you for asking the question regarding China's demographic shifts. I believe currently we should focus on 3 issues. Number 1, we should have a better way to deal with the demographic scale and to reach a moderate level of birth rate. We have a quite large population. That's a basic condition of China. With a population of 1.4 billion, we're facing a quite big burden given to the economic and social development as well as the environment. We have a less population. I believe we have more resources to be allocated per GDP capita, and we also have a quite better environment. We have less young generation and more aging people. This is another phenomenon. So we talk about the aging population actually also a quite acute issues in China. We talk about actually the situation is that we should have appropriate level of population. General Secretary Xi Jinping saying that we should have a good definition on population, and also we should have a good blueprint in this regard. So he also asked the related departments and organizations should study thoroughly into details. Second, we should also increase the capability of a working force population. We have a less working population, but we still enjoy a big pool of talent. The age from 15 to 64, that's our working force right now, that enjoy an overall population of 990 million. By year 2050, the number is still 820 million. Compared to the European or American countries, right now the number for them is just around 330 million. But they have even less working population or active working population, but their productivity is 6 times higher than us. Rely on the AI, robots, advancement that will also further help us increase our productivity. We have quite abundant working forces available, and in the coming 3 to 5 years, we still have a really sufficient supply in working forces. So we need to think about right now the current situation. We have enough people, but we lack of talent people among that population. With low birth rate, we cannot only rely on the cheap labor cost. Right now, we should shift ourselves to a high-quality talent to drive our economic growth, and we should further cultivate and improve their capabilities, and also to improve our factors of production. Make sure we not only enjoy a big pool of people, that we also have a quite talented people as the majority of that pool. Currently, we're facing that people not really would like to give birth, or it's really not affordable for them to have a baby. We talk about having a baby is quite costly. This morning, Premier Li Keqiang mentioned in the government work report, we talk about the infant and the child care actually related to every household. We should think about the new situation with 2-child families. We need to develop the service covering the 2-child families, and also think about the new forms of business and services in this regard. So the issues actually impact people giving birth. It's more because of these issues. 2 children in one family actually quite meet people's needs. So we need to think about how our birth rate policies can in line with our economic and social development. We need to think about the daycare centers should be fully implemented and put in place in different areas, and also think about how we can lower the cost of raising a child, and also think about how we can deduct the taxes and also can give better support to women when they're finding jobs. General Secretary Xi Jinping also mentioned in the 19th National Congress, we talk about we should fund the essential part of the birth rate, actually, that should think about the consideration of economic and social development. So I also call on our other departments and institutions should put attention and efforts to the demographic shift, and we should really have a sound evaluation on second children phenomena and give a solid data support for our research. Tomorrow afternoon, at same time, same venue, we will have our second press conference. We will talk about how we can create a better business environment and also to achieve a high-quality economic development. You are all welcomed. This is the end of today's press conference. Thank you all.